Happy, happy. So let's talk about what this GHB is looking like for Gitz. We did a quick review of what the new soggy stuff actually is. Now let's look at what it means. But first, thanks to all my patrons. Thanks to Baron of Dice. Use code MDG to get 5% off your order. And thanks to Iberian for the channel art. He was, the OG art that I was using way back in the day. Appreciate it. Okay, so I was very excited about Cruel Boys. I was very excited about Iron Jaws. I am struggling with Gloomspite Gitz. TLDR. I don't know if rock cuts are going to be used. So, well, at least not like they were before. So what are we actually using from this new book? Well, Sunbiter pack is a maybe. I was doing some math with the Snarlfang Cavalry, which are the biggest, heaviest hitters that we have. And for 100 points, they actually punch above their weight class. On the charge, without this subfaction, they're dealing over 5 damage per 100 points. Because they're so cheap. Right? They're so cheap. And if we add in +1 to rend, the damage is like 6.17 damage per 100 points is nuts. Is very, very high. They punch way above their weight class per 100 point. The problem is bounders punch harder. 5 bounders punch harder than 5 Snarlfang Cavalry. They're not as fast, right? And the way that they interact with the hero buff pieces is different. But bounders punch at like 9.26 damage per 100 point, which is huge. It's a huge amount of damage. So this extra damage that you get from this subfaction is still not competing with how punchy that bounders are. That being said, as I sort of previously said, there's other reasons that you might want to take the cavalry. They're quite a bit faster, right? I think bounders move something like, what do bounders move? I think it's D6 plus 6, right? Boingrot bounders, and then we'll look at the Snarlfang Cavalry as well, right? D6 plus 6 is very different than, where are they? A straight 12, right? They both have 4-up saves. They both have 1 control. The Snarlpack Cavalry for 100 points also bring more health because they have 3 health versus the bounders 2 health, and they have a 4-up save instead of a... So there's a lot more meat. They're a lot faster. They're cheaper, and they have 1 control each. So there are reasons that you might want to consider taking Snarlpack Cavalry and maybe even taking this Sunbiter pack subfaction. It's in play, I think. I don't think that Giddish Horde is. I still don't think that. I think that people are going to really enjoy this. I think people are going to like it. But I just really, the way that I'm seeing and the way that everyone's talking about this season, it really feels to me that having fast units, lots of them, being really aggressive, taking your opponent's territory, taking your opponent's objectives is going to be key for scoring battle tactics. However, I do think that this new spell lore is significantly better than the other one. The other spell lore that we previously had... Oh, jeez. Dogs are barking. Like, literally, not even metaphorically. The previous spell lore that we had was pretty bad. The Hand of Gork is maybe the only good spell. But if you're going to play a whole bunch of really fast cavalry units, it's less important and good. Gitz generally is a pretty fast army. I've seen Hand of Gork be really cool for putting rock guts into the middle of the battlefield or over on the side onto some objective. But Sporma, not good, right? It's like you have to cast the spell, they have to unbind the spell, and then you roll a d3, and on a 1 it does, or on a 1 or a 2 it does nothing. So that's pretty bad. And then bad portents or portents where you move with the moon around is also the same kind of thing. It's like you make a casting roll, then there's an unbinding roll, and then on a 1 or a 2, nothing happens. So it's like you're just bringing, like you're not doing it. You're going to be casting the Dark Dank manifestations, which are fine. I think that the Arachna Cauldron is interesting, but the problem with the Arachna Cauldron is that you're getting more casts to cast what? The spells are bad. So the Malevolent Moon is very good, and you know, what it was really good before was to put Rock Guts under the light of the Bad Moon, and again keep them under the light of the Bad Moon, because that was realistically, of all the things, like some of these other abilities just aren't very good, right? Like being under the light of the Bad Moon. Like for example, if we look at the Trolls one is good because it's still, you know, giving +1 to save. I know it doesn't do it against shooting it against other things, you know, but like most of the fighting is happening in melee, especially this season. So that, you know, that's good and fine. But the other one, or the other ones, the Spider Fang one, it's like, well, Spider Fang aren't good. They will be better this next season, I think. I think that if the points are coming down across the board, I think that'll help. But the Squig ones, like adding 5 to the control, it's like, okay, that's, who cares? It's not, they're too slow. Yeah. So you can use a value of 4, so this makes Bounders move 10 under the light of the Bad Moon, but I don't know, like it's not that big of a deal. It's not super impactful. So having them under the light of the Bad Moon is just less, like, I don't know. The Mighty Mushroom is fine, but Gravetide is better. So it's like, I don't know. And Scuttletide is like, it's like whatever. So I honestly don't know what the manifestations will look like for us this season. So I don't know. So I don't know. I don't know if there's really, we're going to take the spell lore, and then I just don't think that the fanatics are gonna do it, because again, we're going into what everyone is saying, and what I am tending to agree is to be a fast, you know, MSU cavalry army or meta in this GHB. And so I just think that you're just probably not going to be taking Stab Us and Shoot Us, especially Shoot Us. You're just probably not going to be taking them. So putting fanatics into the units just doesn't, it's just not going to do anything really, you know? So overall, compared to the other greenskin armies, the Gitz kind of didn't get any, like, it's kind of underwhelming. How do the command points affect the army? Well, the army relies on all-out attack for damage. There's lots of units that hit on 4s, and the buffs that we have in the Gitz book, I think, are kind of less reliable than other armies. I mean, if we look through some of the heroes, it's like Trug buffs with extra attacks, and he buffs with extra rend, but those things don't matter if we're not getting attacks through. So we're still going to be wanting to use all-out attack, but on, like, what, on trolls? Like, probably not, right? Like, we want trolls to really be an anvil. So getting, like, a minus to save for all-out attack, if we're getting these other buffs, isn't really benefiting us a lot. The things that don't really care are things that just die anyway. Like Squig Herd, for example, or any of the Git Mob, or any of the mounted Squig stuff, right? The Hoppers, the Bounders, because they're sort of disposable. Like, Bounders charge in, punch, deal a bunch of damage, we can all out attack them, that's fine, and then they're going to get hit back and die, but then we bring them back out of the Loon Shrine. So all out attack is less good on trolls and better on disposable cavalry, like Snarlfang cavalry, or in Gitmob cavalry. Squig Boss is going to be able to give crit mortals, right? This is something that is good. This is something that you don't care about all attack, because the crit mortals are happening in that same role, right? You're not relying on more dice making it through that filter of all out attack. In fact, you can get minus to hit, and the Squig Boss is going to be still, you know, contributing 100% of his damage, even if your units are suffering from some penalties. And don't get me wrong, people are going to value -1 to hits a lot greater in this next GHB, because all out attack is going to be less common, right? But besides that, you know, like, there's not a ton of things. Gobblepalooza gives rend, but again, if you don't have all out attack, it's sort of providing less value. So it's, again, going to be better on disposable cavalry than it is on you know, like really tanky frontline units. Yeah, so cool. So I don't know, like I'm just kind of, yeah, I'm kind of leaning more towards like the squigs and the git mob rather than the trolls this season. All out defense, it's the same deal. Like who cares? You'll use it when you want to use it. If you are going to play trolls, you're just going to use all out defense against the thing that's big that's hitting you, right? That's like, I don't think it's a big deal. The change to all out defense where you only get to pick one thing that you're really all out defensed against is you're going to use it less, but when you need it, like when Varengard are coming in, you're going to still use it. It's still going to be there and still going to do what you need it to do. It's just going to be less good for armies like Ironjaws with Ardboys who want to get stuck in with like 3 different units and really tar pit them down and just be like, haha, like we're on 2-up saves against all of these attacks, right? It's going to reduce that, which is probably good for the game. And then the last thing to really mention for command points is Drogs, right? Drogs, given this -1 to hit rolls that are for units that are within 6, and they can't use all-out attack. I mean, this is it's still going to be good, right? It's still going to be good. Like minuses to hit are going to be way meaner. I know that they also can't use all-out attack, but this is still going to be like some armies. This is just going to beat. Right, and they have to be within 6, but he does have a move of 12, right? So he can kind of like hang out in the back and move up. He's a little bit expensive for this. If you're playing a bunch of Git Mob, I think it's fine. What are his other ones? He like brings the unit of Git Mob into the fight, or like they fight with him, and then on a 4-up, they can run away after they fight. Is that right? Yeah, after they fight, they can run. So this ability is actually pretty good. Right, and because we'll talk about that more when we get to the part about like battle plans and battle tactics. How is obscuring in places of power going to affect Gloomspike Gitz? Well, don't forget, Bounders and Hoppers have flying. Some of our Squig guys have flying. Herd doesn't. Snarlfang Pack doesn't. Snarlfang Cavalry don't. They don't have flying, so they can be obscured. If they're still shooting in your meta, you can lean more towards these units that can take advantage of obscuring, right? Spider Riders have fake flying, right? They can fly over buildings, but they can't, but they don't count as like having flying. So they're kind of interesting, I think, because they kind of are getting the best of both worlds in some sense, right? Like if all of the terrain has obscuring, and these guys can fly over obscuring terrain, they can kind of play these weird little cagey games where they can stay hidden, but like they can stay hidden more easily because they can maneuver over the terrain pieces. And another thing too about Spider Riders is they have 2 control. Of all the cavalry that we'll talk about, they're the only ones that have 2 control. So for 110 points, and I know that I know that there's leaks for points, right? And I think they've come down in points, but for pretty cheap, right? For around 100 points, having 10 control on a 10-up move that is mobile and still can be obscured, and especially in a meta where there's battle plans and battle tactics where you're trying to control your opponent's terrain, these guys are actually looking pretty good. I think maybe of all the units and Gitz that I've been thinking about and looking at, I think that maybe Spider Riders got the biggest glow up of all the Gitz units, I think. Just because I'm think like MSU, like they're cheap, they're fast, they can be obscured, they move around terrain, like they're going to be more mobile than your opponent's cavalry that doesn't have flying, right? Like it's interesting to me. Like I'm kind of digging it. They have fake flying, which is nice. Losing our places of power hurts our casting. We don't have a lot of bonuses to cast, and our spell lore, especially if you're taking the lore of the Frazzlegate, everything casts on a 6, which is nice, but we're not getting any other bonuses to cast, right? So this Bright Fright, I think, is really good. I should have lingered on this more, but we'll talk about this, but you can use the retreat ability as if it was the movement phase in your hero phase as a spell, and it's a free retreat. You don't take any mortal wounds. So this is, and it's unlimited. So you can cast this a few times. On a 6, right? It's pretty good. This actually might be worth taking the Scuttletide for. I was mentioning the Scuttletide before and how it's not great, but if you take the Frazzlegit spell lore, I think it's better. And also, being able to give added 2 inches to the move characteristic of friendly non-Troggoth Gloomspike Gitz units while they're wholly within 12. This is making our cavalry even faster. This is 14 movement speed Snarlfang cavalry. 12 movement speed Spider Riders. It's D6 plus 8 Boingrot Bounders, right? And even Squigherd, I can't remember what Squigherd move. Is it D6 plus 4? I think that's what it is, but I'm just going to double check. But even Squigherd, right? Like, that inconsistent movement that you get in Herd, no, D6 plus 3, right? It really helps. Like, being able to call that a 5, like D6 plus 5, it helps with the, I mean, just being fast in this game is good. And again, going into this meta, I think it's going to be really good. And then even this Gaze of Glareface is good, right? Your opponent can't use the run ability. Like, everything about this spell lore is about mobility, and especially with Get Speed being an aura that gives everything around it plus movement, I think is cool. And then shutting off your opponent's cavalry, like being like, oh, like you're a 12 move cavalry piece. Well, actually you're 6. You're going to lose 6 inches to your move and you can't run. Where, like, for example, Snarlfang cavalry could, if they auto ran, can move 18 inches. 18 inches, and instead, if they got this spell cast on them, they can move 6. You're reducing their movement speed by 12. You're cutting it into a third. That's a lot of, so again, if the meta is like, hey, we're running units all over the battlefield, it's like picking an enemy unit that's within 18 inches, not even wholly within 18 inches, and then having your Snarlfang like run around behind them and grab their objectives, grab their train in the backline. Like, this spell lore is I think gonna be really important for Gloomspike Gitz. I really do think so. Okay, Troll standing on objectives that are obscured is nice, but it's probably not going to be super relevant. I don't think you can take Trogherd, right? I just don't think so. 2 reinforced units of Rock Guts, Dankhold, Trug, Trogboss, Fellwaters. What are you going to score with? Let's move on. Oh no, actually, sorry. And then Doomdiver, right? Doomdiver was sort of not getting a lot of love before. In this, like in the last season, when it came out, people were really hyped about it. They thought it was really good, but the more that people played with it, the more they felt that it was super inconsistent. And so now, in this obscuring meta, I just think the Doomdiver's out. I just don't think that you really take the Doomdiver. We'll have to wait and see. I could very well be wrong. These are still super early days, but with all this obscuring everything, like, you're just probably cutting the Doomdiver out of your list. Sorry, everybody. I know that I know people love the model. I know that people really like to take it, but I just don't think it's gonna make the cut. Okay, so battle plans and battle tactics. There's not a ton of stand, and this is again talking about the Trogherd or trolls. There's not a lot of stand in the middle and fight attack maps. Right? Like, there's just not. If they're like sick, like there's so many 5 objectives. Like this one, maybe a little bit, right? So far it's like there's 1, 2, but it's like 5 objectives, 3, 4 objectives spread out, 4 objectives spread out, 6 objectives. There's not a lot of stand in the middle and fight maps. So unless you're going to a tournament where 3 out of 5 of them are the stand in the middle and fight, you're probably not going to bring just like reinforced trolls to stand in the middle of the map and fight. The castling sort of army style, where it's like that's what the bulk of your army is doing, I just don't think it's gonna do it. So I think that if you, I still think that Rock Guts have a place, like they're still a very good unit, but I think that you go from like 2 reinforced units to 2 units that are going to move out onto objectives and stand there, or that are going to move into choke points and hold space. They can be very good at holding your opponent's cavalry back because they're really strong, or really tanky, but I don't think you're taking the battle formation, right? I don't think you're taking like Trug and Dankholds. Like, I just don't think that that's going to work, you know? So I just don't think that trolls are going to be anywhere near as strong this season. I mean, obviously they're at their best when they can just stand there and force your opponent to come to them. They were really good in third when you could put Fell Waters behind them, and then your opponent would charge in and you would unleash hell, and you would remove any possibility of +1 save and give -1 to save to whatever came charging in. But this season, it's just not that season. It's just not that season. I just don't think trolls are going to be it. Sorry. Also, as a little side note, Sunstealawilas, they're not scouts. For the battle tactic scouting force or whatever it's called, Sunstealawilas are not. They're war machines. They're not cavalry. So I was really excited about them maybe too, but like I said, not being cavalry kind of matters a little bit. So if you're going to take scouting force, then you can't take Sunstealawilas. But if you're not going to take scouting force, then you can take Sunstealawilas to help you with objectives, because they're good. Like, they're good. So in conclusion, spamming cavalry. Oh no, sorry, we had to go back. What are we doing? We gotta go back. So, like, battle tactics. So what battle tactics are we actually thinking about, right, for Gloomspite Gitz? So scouting force. So non-hero infantry, non-hero cavalry that are not in combat. That's a key part. It's something I missed in my Iron Jaws video, right? You cannot complete these battle tactics with scout units that are in combat. Replacement units that replace scouting units are also scout units, which means all of these units that come out of your Loon Shrine, they also count. If you have, like, MSU Bounders, you get 3 Bounders back that are still a scout. If you have Snarlfang Pack, you still get 3 back. If you have Snarlfang Cavalry, you get 2 back. And they all count as scouts. That's interesting. That's good, right? Also, if you remember, we have a spell that lets us retreat out of combat. That's really good. We're able to be in combat with something, and then we can retreat, and it's an unlimited spell, right? It's 3 friendly visible Gloomspite units. I know it's wholly within 12. We'll talk about that in a sec. But you can just, like, 3 of your scouts can retreat away without taking mortals, and they could jump onto enemy objectives, and they can be wholly outside your territory. Like, scouting force with the right list is going to be bread and butter, I think, for Gloomspite Gitz. Again, just because we can retreat, we can do all that stuff. We can also, if we wanted to, I don't think it's going to be in here. Oh yeah, get mob pack, right? It's like free retreat, right? It's like we deal mortal wounds to our enemy, and then we get free retreat. And that's why Sunstealawilas, I was excited about them, because they have that built into their war scroll, where they can just like attack, like they whatever charge in, and then they move afterwards. I can't remember exactly what the wording is, but they're not scouts, right? Which is too bad. But they can move up to their move characteristics, so it's like you can move 12 inches. It can move through the combat ranges of enemies, but it can't end the move in combat, right? It's like there's a lot of ways that with scouting force we're able to leave combat with multiple units and take multiple terrain features and objectives with our thing. Okay, you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if a friendly scout unit that was not set up this turn is contesting a terrain feature that you control that is wholly within enemy territory and that is more than 6 inches from friendly territory. Again, with the right list, scouting force is going to be very good, very easy to do, especially if you throw like imagine this. Okay, cool. I'm gonna throw herd at you on the flank, and then the herd's gonna trade with you. And then bounders are going to come in and finish the job. And then the whole time, my Snarlfang stuff was just 3 or even. Do you know what else is really good, too? If you take a Snarlfang boss, you can take Wolf Get Retinue for 70 points. I'm not sure. They might even be cheaper. I have a feeling they won't be cheaper. But they're cavalry. They're scouts. They have a 12-inch move. They're tiny, right? They're hard to catch, right, because they're on these tiny little bases. So another one too, and I don't think I put it up here, but another thing too is the Snarlfang. Where are they? Snarlfang Riders. Snarlfang Riders have that built-in redeploy, right? They have this once per turn army enemy movement phase. If this unit is not in combat, this unit can move d6, right? So it's like they're going to be like dipping and dodging around while bounders and other things are crashing in. So yeah, like it's good. for scouting force, right? I know I've said this 3 times, but I think it's going to be bread and butter for a Gitz army this season. Wrathful Cycle, you control more objectives than your opponent. Spider Riders are going to help with this, right? Taking objectives. If you're the underdog this battle round, so I don't like this tactic because you have to be the underdog, and a good opponent is just going to prevent you from doing that. They're going to make that hard for you to do. I don't like to give my opponent power, and half of your units have to fight. But again, it's like if we were playing a bunch of trolls, that would be sick, but we're not. We're playing a bunch of glass cannons, and if everything in our list is fighting, then everything in our list is dying. We don't want to do this. I don't think Wrathful Cycles is the one for us. Restless Energy, you complete this battle tactic if you control an objective that was controlled by an opponent. That's fine, that's easy. Every objective within enemy territory, this one is doable, but this one might be tough because again, everything in our list just tends to melt. Yeah, and then if you control every objective on the battlefield. So I think that Gitz is going to be one of those armies that when you do win games, you lost more points than your opponent, right? You lost more points than your opponent. Attuned to Gairan, seize the center, right? Have 2 friendly units wholly within 3. You can do this. You can have a unit of Rock Guts. You can have 3 Rock Guts that move into the middle and act as like a screen, right, for some units. So this is doable, you know, but you have to, again, think about your list and be like, what am I actually going to do with my list? You can throw Squig Herd right up the middle of the battlefield really early in the game, and then you can move up some heroes or whatever, or just a couple of cavalry. You can move 2 units of Bounders. Bounders fly. They can run over the Squigs if they need to. Taking the center is not going to be that difficult. And this one, 2 friendly units retreat, and then other units charge. Well, this says, or Laura the Frazzlegit, the Bright Fright actually says use the retreat ability. So this counts, right? This counts as a retreat, I think, right? Unless it doesn't say what phase it's in. It says this turn. 2 friendly units use the retreat ability this turn. Yeah. So that's awesome, right? That helps. And also with the sub-faction one, right? Does it say? No, it doesn't say. Oh, no, it has retreat. Does this count? Let me know in the comments below. If it has the keyword retreat, does it count as a retreat ability? If it does, again, in your movement phase, you can like try the or in the hero phase, you can attempt the spell. You fail, that's okay. In your movement phase, you can use this ability, and so it's like suddenly you've retreated with some of your units, and they didn't take any damage. Like you're incentivized to retreat in the army. So, yeah. And then you complete this battle tactic if there are no enemy units within friendly territory and no enemy units within neutral territory. So one thing about having lots of small cavalry units is you're going to get to bring them back out of the Loon Shrine. It does cost a command point, but if you throw 10 Bounders at somebody and then you kill some stuff, whatever you trade, but your opponent had some of their cavalry units come across the board into your territory, well, guess on what side of the board 5 more Bounders or 3 more Bounders are going to come back out of? Well, your side of the board. So this is going to be a little bit easier for you. You're not going to have to bring units back from being really aggressively put into your opponent's territory all the way back to deal with the ones in your territory. It's like if you throw 2 reinforced herd bricks at your opponent, you want them to die. Use all-out attack. Have them all die. They trade with their mortal wounds. You bring them back out of the shrine, and now their job is to eat anything that sort of made it onto your side of the battlefield, right? You can see now how my brain has been thinking about Gitz, looking at these tactics. It's like lots of disposable units, lots of retreats, lots of mobility, right? Bounders, Spider Riders, Git Mob Cavalry, right, of all kinds. I don't know. I think that you could do lots of interesting lists. I think that you could do like a Squig heavy list and do Squigalanche. I think you could do more of a Git Mob heavy list and do that. But I think it really depends on the cards that you pick, the tactics that you're going to take. But you can see now, just looking at these cards, like which points you're actually going to be able to score pretty easily. like, it looks like it's relatively easy to score these points, right? It's going to be a difficult army to play, I think, but it looks like you can kind of do it here. Master the Path, you have to kill an enemy hero. Okay, well, we have lots of fast-moving cavalry. We can pick off heroes. That's not too bad. Seize the Path. More friendly units in neutral territory than enemy units. Again, we have lots of units. Like, play some Wolfgate Retinue, right? Play 3 squads of Snarlfang cavalry. And then Envelop and Strangle. At least 3 different friendly units are each within 9 inches of a different corner of the battlefield, and only one of those corners is wholly within friendly territory. Well, you can have something within a corner in your territory. You just put your Loon Shrine over there, right? And then it's set up this turn, but one of the units can be set up this turn. So Master the Path. Master the Path has the sort of caveat where you have to kill a hero. And that's the thing that turns people off, and I totally understand why. Against some opponents, they're just going to be like, oh, all my heroes are... Like, I think Vince was talking about this in one of his podcasts. But it's like, oh, I'm just going to, like, my units, they're just going to run through the knot-holes. You're never going to catch any of my heroes. It's like, fair enough. Fair enough. And Intercept and Recover is bad. Don't take Intercept and Recover. I'm not even going to talk about it. And then the other one is Attuned to Gairan, right? The thing that sort of turns people off is Seize the Center, right? So if you can make, like, and fair enough, right? So but the thing with Seize the Center too is that let's go back to my slides. Kragnos. Oh jeez, I spilled water on my keyboard. Pause the video. Uh-oh. My mouse is... Oh, that's why I'm tripping out. With this, like, MSU style cavalry focused Gitz army, they're so cheap, it's easy to fit Kragnos in. Bounders plus Kragnos is scary. Bounders plus Kragnos makes your opponent really think twice about taking the middle of the battlefield. If you can build like a 2-drop, and I've been trying, I don't think I had tons of success. Let me just pull up my app real quick. I don't think I had tons of success, but if you can build like a 2-drop Kragnos, you know, Git Mob. Oh yeah, I did build one. Oh my god, that's right. Yeah, so the list that I sort of was dreaming up is Kragnos. I'm not going to worry too much about the regiments. The heroes are Kragnos and Squig Boss. This, yeah, this is where I was sort of having trouble with it. The Squig Boss takes Loon Touched, so the Squig Boss can cast some of these spells. One of these spells, I guess. 2 units of Bounders reinforced, 2 units of Squig Herd reinforced, a Snarlfang Riders unit, and 2 Spider Rider units. So, that's a 2-drop list, but your opponent does not want to take the center. They do not. If they do, they're going to get just eaten alive by Herd. So if you can be a 2-drop list, make your opponent go first. You take Attuned to Gairan. Your opponent's like, I don't want to take the middle. It's like, correct, you don't. I do, however. On my turn, I'm just going to march Kragnos up into the middle of the battlefield, and I'm going to start 3d6 charging Herd and Bounders at your face, right? And just start blowing things up. I want my units to die early. I'm going to use all-out attack on Squig Herd. They can receive commands, right? Like, I'm not crazy about... Right? Like, I'm not wrong about this. Let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. So, yeah. So, spamming Cavalry and Kragnos seems pretty good to me. This season might be tough for Gitz because we're probably losing some of our strongest pieces, right? These are my conclusions. Like Trolls, we'll have to see what the meta looks like if everyone is taking tons of small cavalry, maybe spamming 3-man units of Rock Guts and Fellwaters and spreading them out all across the board and just marching up might work. Who knows? We're also, I think, going to have more of a reliance on the Loon Shrine if we do go for like an MSU cavalry style. So make sure you save those command points because you're going to be bringing back lots of stuff to help clean up your backlines and maybe very well play Kragnos. So I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? What are the lists that you're excited to build? What does it look like from your end of the table? Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe. Wah.